All right, so this is part two of the Vision Quest story, and basically where I left off was I completed the quest, or I completed the being in nature part of the Vision Quest. The Vision Quest is basically your time in nature, and then the time that you spend afterwards doing your quest. And the reason why it's called a quest is because it's not just a collection of insights that you receive and then or knowledge or something like that or or things like that. It's basically like it's a quest. It's something that you complete over weeks, months, years. Things that you piece together one by one, or little things, little steps that you have to take in your daily life that kind of they all build off of each other, and they eventually lead up to kind of like a climax in your quest, and then kind of a like a conclusion. Like there's kind of like a beginning, middle, end to the whole experience. And the part in nature is just the very, very, very beginning of it. So basically, over the 4 years that followed my Vision Quest, um, basically there was a couple things, a couple themes and things that kind of were running throughout those 4 years. Um, One of them was closure, basically a quest for closure. That's what I would call my vision quest. My first one is a quest for closure, and not a closure after a breakup or the death of somebody, but a just a quest for general closure. Like, how do you find closure um, in your life when there's not really a whole lot going on, when you're kind of sick and you don't feel great and your energy is low, and you just kind of stay at home most of the time. How do you find closure um, in a way that meets your needs? And so my quest for closure took like 4 years. And what I found out about closure is that you have to risk basically anything and everything that you possess. You have to risk things that you have, um, and then you risk them, and you might temporarily lose them for some time, but then you get them back, and in that process, you get closure. So risk was a big theme that ran throughout these 4 years, risking my physical health, my mental health, contact with my family, and contact with the outside world. I risked all these things um, in order to find my closure. And how I did that was I voluntarily went to a mental hospital like a couple of times. And during that time, you're not in contact with your family. You're not in contact with the outside world. The only people you can speak to are the other people in there, and the nurses and the psychiatrists. So so that's kind of a risk in a small way, I guess. And it was very challenging to be in there with some of the other people. So I was also risking my mental health and whatnot. So that was kind of that part of the quest. And then another part of the quest was risking my physical health. That like my health has pretty much been perfect since I was a kid. No asthma, no diabetes, no inherited heart diseases or or add more abnormalities. I can't say that word. Add abnormalities in your health. I don't really have any of those. I have perfect vision, 20/20 vision. I have perfect hearing. Um, my health has pretty much been good, but I also had to risk that in this basically period of time where I went without sleep, or I went without basically any sleep for about a month, and my everything everything health wise kind of tanked, and I was kind of jeopardizing my health for quite a while afterwards, because insomnia really affects you. It affects your health. You can have a stroke, you can have a heart attack if you don't get enough sleep. So all of these things I was risking for the sake of closure. And so yeah, that was kind of like the second part of the quest. And so the result at the very end of the quest was basically I found out that even with closure, even when you find closure, you kind of like when you look for it, you kind of just wind up like right back where you started. So basically, I did my quest for 4 years, but I kind of wound up right back at the beginning of everything. It kind of feels like I didn't really progress at all. And I guess that was my mistake, going up there on the hill for my vision. And everything that I was experiencing at the time manifested itself in this vision. And, not all of it is good or perfect or useful. Some of that stuff that you actually manifest, some of that internal material that you actually manifest, can be quite useless. Or maybe it's something that um, doesn't really aid you in the long term. So, but this is the good thing about vision quests, is that you can always redo them. You can always go back and manifest something different. Now that you've manifested all the junk and all the useless stuff, now maybe you've made room for for some actual real insight. So yeah, um, basically that's the conclusion of this video. Um, expect there to be mistakes in your first vision quest. Expect the results be um, to be disappointing. Expect the results to leave you kind of wary and tired, and at the end of the day, you might be feeling less healthy than you did when you started your quest. You might actually be feeling like less than good. So just expect all of those things, because it is a very powerful experience. It takes everything out of you. And at this point, maybe you can look around for something that challenges yourself a little bit more, like a darkness retreat. A vision quest is useful because it sends you on a journey of exploration. But maybe at the end of the day, a darkness retreat would be more useful, because it challenges you to just face up to, yourself, your thoughts, your beliefs, your whatever. That internal dialogue is just kind of playing out in the dark, and you kind of have to deal with that. So yeah, try that out. See ya.